you're trying to learn Facebook ads in 2026, most tutorials are going to confuse the hell out of you. They either overcomplicate super simple things, or they teach you outdated strategies that no longer work, or they show you button clicks without explaining what anything does. So we're gonna be changing that today, because you end up copying setups you don't understand and hoping the algorithm saves you, when that's never going to happen. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through exactly the Facebook ad strategy and the actual way to get them to work in 2026. This is not theory, it's not going to be hacks, but how to think about the platform so you can run ads with confidence instead of simply guessing and copying someone else. This is the full beginner's guide I wish existed when I first started. If you're new to this channel, my name is Christian Jamal. I've spent well over $100 million on paid ads, specifically on Meta. And on this channel, I make videos for business owners that use Meta ads for lead generation. Everything here is about actually helping you understand Meta, run better ads, and scale without guessing. So let's dive in. All right, so when you first log on to the ads manager, this is what you're going to see. It's gonna look extremely confusing, but don't even worry, because we are going to be diving through every single thing. And before we even launch the ads, I think it's important for you guys to understand the structure of how Facebook operates. Think about it like this. You have your pages, you have your Instagram, you have your business, you have your ad accounts, you have your payment methods. These are all separate assets. These assets are hosted inside the trunk of the tree, and the trunk of the tree is the business manager. So in order to go there, you want to go to business settings on the bottom left corner of your screen. This is basically what your account is going to look like. This is the trunk of the tree, and all you see on the left side, these are all things that are branches in the tree. So when it comes down to people, you can invite people to your business manager from here. You can put in their email, you press enter, it will highlight it, you'll be able to go to the next step. Partners are agencies that you're utilizing to actually help you build your business. Pages is obviously pages, ad accounts is ad accounts, and then Instagram accounts is Instagram accounts. These are the only three relevant ones under accounts. You can use WhatsApp accounts if you're not in the United States. I've seen that in the United States, that one doesn't do very well. And then you have data sources. Data sources are the tracking mechanisms of how people are interacting with your business off the platform. So you have catalogs, which means if you have a Shopify website, it's basically like the products being imported into Meta. If you have a pixel, or you have a funnel, or a website that you're sending people to from your ads, this is where you get data sets and pixels to actually be convenient for your business, because then you can track what's going on outside the platform. Another thing you can see is requests. If you're ever making any changes and Meta prompts you to get it approved by someone else, you can find that under requests. For brand safety, you can verify your domain so no one else can run ads for that domain. I haven't seen that to be a big issue for smaller businesses, but if you're a bigger business, make sure that you go under domains and you actually set up a domain for your business. It's very simple. Add a domain. It's going to ask you to do some things on DNS, and then you can add it. Again, not super important for smaller businesses. Billing and payments is obviously going to be your payment method. And then that is pretty much it. That's all you really need to know when it comes down to the business info and the business manager. Now, of course, our objective is to create ads. So what we want to do is we want to head over to the ad account and click open in ads manager. I'm explaining everything item by item because it is going to differ from business to business. And we're going to set up a campaign together so that if you feel more comfortable following along step by step, you can do that as well. I'm going to explain also the concept of the campaigns, ad sets, and ads so that you guys have a good idea of what this all means, okay? So when you think of campaigns, you need to think of the objective, the goal. What is it that is happening? And what is it that we actually want to achieve? And when you think of ad sets, it's who is going to see these ads. And for ads is what is actually being seen. So I'm actually going to pull up a Canva whiteboard so you guys are able to follow along more so that it makes more sense when it comes to this. So I'm going to go ahead and explain the structure like this. So think about campaigns as the goal, okay? Remember, campaign is right here. And now for the ad set is the targeting. So we have ad set 1, let's say, and this is target audience 1. And the same concept applies again and again and again. So we can just do this, and then we can do ad set 2 is target audience 2, and the same thing for this one. And again, this is just conceptual because it's important for you guys to just understand that there's going to be multiple ad sets in each campaign. Now, what you also have is multiple ads in each ad set. So you have the campaigns here, you have the ad set here, and you have the ads here. So inside each target audience, you want to test multiple different types of ads. So for this situation, let's just call this one ad 1 equal what they see. And then we have ad 2, which is also what they see. And then I'm going to go ahead and just copy this, paste it. Same concept applies for this target audience. And then the same concept applies for this target audience. So, and that's exactly what you want to have as a structure. Keep in mind, this is a bare bones structure, very, very simplified. We're gonna build a legitimate campaign together, but just food for thought, this is along the lines of what you want it to look like. You want one to turn into multiple, and then inside each one of the multiple, you wanna have a few others. And that's pretty much the concept of Facebook. And the reason that we do this is because, so let's say audience 1 is an older audience, and then audience 2 is a younger audience. And keep in mind that this is just like a very, very broad example just to show you the concept of why it's important to set up ads this way. Because here, let's say we have an older person in the ad, and then here we have a younger person in the ad. And then same concept applies for here. We have a younger person in the ad. Okay, so think about it like this. If your goal is to get leads and your audience, you have two types of audience, two different types of people can buy from you. You have an older audience and a younger audience. And the older audience seems to be resonating much better with an ad of someone that is an older person in the ad. And the younger audience is resonating much better with an ad that has a younger person in the ad. So here, this isn't saying, because if we only look at this half of the equation, you would think to yourself, oh, older people in the ads don't perform well. When that's really not the case, because what you want to do is you want to split test your ads across different audiences, because certain audience like better certain specific ads. And that's exactly why we want to set up a structure like this. Now, keep in mind, this is a very broad example, like I mentioned. You could take this to a whole different level. If you have very intricate audiences with very different types of ads, you can see which angle of ad works better for a specific type of audience. So you can notice, for example, let's say an older audience is much easier to get to buy whatever you're trying to sell if you're using a negative outcome, for example, as compared to a positive one. The younger audience is performing better with a positive outcome versus a negative one. There's multiple different angles to sell the same thing. And just to give an example of this, let's say you're selling a mattress. If you can sell a mattress as, hey, fix your back pain, which is negative, or a positive outcome would be better, right? So same product, same marketing, but one is pushing away from the negative and one is pushing towards the positive. And that's an angle. And the reason I'm explaining all this is because truly Facebook does come down to mindset. Because when you're thinking about how to set up the ads, it's important to understand why you're doing certain things rather than just copying me, click some buttons on the screen. Because once you understand the skill, it's kind of the equivalent of me teaching you guys how to fish rather than just giving you the fish. Because when it comes to Facebook, what your setup looks like day one is going to look very, very different than your setup 2 weeks down the line, because the setup itself is honestly one of the least important things when it comes to the ads themselves, because what you want to know is how to make data-driven decisions. And if you know how to think and you know why you thought this way, you'll be able to make much better data-driven decisions. Now let's go through the ads manager and show you guys exactly what things do. So create actually starts the action of creating a campaign. Duplicate is a scaling strategy that we're going to be talking about later down the line in this video. Edit is obviously edit existing items. A/B test is obviously the ability to test one thing versus the other, but I like to do it manually. I don't like to use this actual button. And you can create rules as well. Now, the columns is what you see over here, and you are able to change these. So in general, you're going to be in performance when you load up the ad account, and you're going to see that you have bid strategy, budget, results, reach, impressions, cost per result, etc. But you can also create your own customized columns. So let's say we have this. I would like to know how many clicks we got, how much we paid per click, what % of people who saw the ad clicked on it. The CPM is what is it costing us to show the ad 1,000 times. And then I want to know the results. Because if you think about it, we're going to go back here and I'm going to look up a funnel. Think about it like this. let's say that on Meta, you are having the visibility of the following. So let's go to text and let's say normal individuals, when they run ads, and the reason they fail is because this is all they look at. They look at how much did I spend? And then on the bottom of the funnel, it's how much did I make? So let me just grab this. And then on here, it's how much did I make? Which is a very valid question because the whole point of running ads is to grow your business. So if you don't know how much you spent, or if you know how much you spent, but you don't know how much you made, then that becomes a big question mark. And then eventually you'll end up like just getting rid of your ads entirely. But the reason I wanted to show you this funnel is because the question of how much did I spend and how much did I make are very beginner level questions. The questions you should be asking is how much am I paying to show my ads, which is right here, the CPM. The next thing you should be asking is something along the lines of what percent of people click on my ad, because that could be the problem. The ad itself could be a very weak ad, even though the target audience is correct and your goal is correct and everything is correct. The next question you should be asking is what percent of clicks gave me their info? So I'm gonna actually put it here so it's easier to see. So what percent of clicks actually gave me their info? And then the last question is what percent of leads turned into sales? And you can dive a little bit deeper into this as well. You can say what percent of leads answered the phone, and then what percent of the people who answered the phone booked a call, and what percent of the people who booked a call showed up, and what percent of the people who showed up actually ended up paying. So that gives you a good outline of what's going on in your account so you can actually make proper decisions. Because if you think about it like this, let's say what percent of people are clicking on your ad, and let's say the number for this is 0.1%. But then you have 50% of the people who click on your ad give you their info. And let's say we have here 25% of people who gave you their info ended up buying your product or service. Well, now we know that this is the problem and we need to fix our actual creative, like our actual ads themselves, because that's what's causing the bottleneck. That's what's causing the ads to not perform well. When in reality, if we were only asking how much am I paying to show my ads and how much did I make, we're not gonna know what is the leak in the boat in order to patch it up and fix it so we can scale our business. So let's go back to the ads manager. Now, I'm gonna walk you guys through the actual campaign structure. Actually, no, one more thing. I do need to break down the timeline as well as the breakdowns. You can create reports on Meta, but I don't recommend them. They're not that good. You can break down your ads by age, by day, by placement, by country, by platform. Obviously, by platform, I mean Facebook or Instagram. And you can go even much more in depth, right? You can see the placement delivery, which means Facebook stories, Facebook feed, Instagram stories, Instagram feed, marketplace. There's a million different placement that can happen. And once you have ads running and spend is actually happening on the account, you can get breakdowns of exactly where things are being spent so you can make better data-driven decisions. Because you might notice that this is all great, but my number for click-through rate is actually 5% on Facebook and 0.001% on Instagram. So you might want to spend more money on Facebook, and that will give you a lot of guidance on what to do next. Now, the next thing is the timeline. Making decisions on same-day data is really bad unless you're spending a lot of money and the data is accurate. Typically, what I like to look at is last 7 days, last 14 days, last 28 days, as well as last 30 days. Because this is going to give you an understanding of the trajectory of things. If you have last 30 days and you're paying $50 a lead, and 14 days, you're paying $25 a lead, and last 7 days, you're paying $10 a lead, you're seeing a downward trend in your cost per lead. That's a good sign. If on a 30-day basis, you're seeing that the cost per lead is $10, and if you're looking at the last 14 days, you're seeing it at 15, and the last 7 days, you're looking at 30, that just tells me the first 14 days of the 30 days, we were crushing it, and now everything is going worse and worse and worse. You do also have the option of going to like custom timeline, etc. if you want to look at numbers from the past, whatever it may be. Now, for your columns, I'm going to show you guys exactly what to do. You want to get rid of everything except the ones that I have selected on my screen. So just clean it up, and then you can start searching for them. You can do clicks, cost per click, click-through rate. Typically, I wouldn't use all, but you can. Typically, what I like to use is link clicks. So link clicks is much more accurate metric because clicks could mean they clicked on your profile, they clicked to see the comments, whatever it may be. Link clicks means they actually clicked to go to your website, to your landing page, whatever it may be. All right, perfect. Now that we have gone through everything related to the ad account, we're gonna go ahead and set up a lead campaign together. So first thing we wanna do is we wanna click on create. You're gonna be presented with a couple of different options. Keep in mind, this is the campaign. So we're asking for the goal right now. You have awareness, which is good for getting views to some videos, things like that. I wouldn't usually use it. This is just basically for additional spend that you don't really care about. You want to invest into your branding. All right, now that we've finished going through all the stuff related to the ads manager, the interface, the logic behind the ads, the next thing we're going to do is actually start creating a campaign. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and click create. You're going to be presented with a couple different items. So I'm going to go through them one by one so you guys have a good understanding of what each one does. So the first one you have is awareness, which is for video views. I wouldn't usually use this unless we actually were doing some sort of PR campaign. We wanted to push something to a local audience, things like that. I don't really recommend it. Traffic is going to get you a ton of clicks, but it's not going to convert them into customers. The only time I use traffic is when I'm sending people to an Instagram profile that we need to build a following, and we have a sales sequence on the back end to reach out to every single follower. The next one is engagement. This one is decent for small businesses if you only can handle very few leads on a monthly basis, and it's very cheap. And what's gonna happen here is they're gonna send you a message on Instagram or Facebook, and you're gonna conversate with them inside the messages. The next one is leads. Leads is obviously the best one for service-based businesses because it's when people give you their name, phone number, email, whatever it may be. The next one is app promotion. I wouldn't recommend this one at all. And then sales is for online e-commerce businesses, which is things like Shopify, drop shipping, whatever it may be. We're not going to dive into that either. So what we're going to select is leads. So as you guys see back here, we've selected our campaign goal. So we know exactly what we need to do now. The campaign itself does have a few options, but it's relatively a short page. It's only like really 2 questions. So the first one is campaign budget or ad set budget. Now we do have to take a 2-minute pause to actually explain what this is because it's very important that you guys understand this concept. So campaign budget is what is referred to as CBO. Means Facebook decides where your budget goes for which audience. Now, ABO means ad set budget optimization, which means you decide where the budget goes. So for example, let's say we're doing a CBO and you put the budget at $100 a day. And you put the budget at $100 a day. Facebook could spend 30 on this one, and it could spend 70 on this one if it sees that that is what needs to be done today. Now, realistically, does that mean that that is the correct answer? Maybe, maybe not. Because right now, if you're still launching a campaign from scratch, you don't know which one is better. You might be spending more money on this because the clicks are cheaper for a younger audience, but maybe the older audience is the one that's actually buying your stuff. So now you're burning 70% of the budget because you're getting cheap clicks that are not turning into customers when all your customers are right here and we're kind of neglecting them. So this is why I don't like starting with a CBO. I like starting with an ABO that has an evenly broken out budget. So if our budget truly is $100 a day, you could do $50 a day times 2. Or you could do $20 a day times 5, and that's 5 audiences we can test now. Now, the one thing that is important to note is whether you pick CBO or ABO, you can't decide which ad gets the spend. Meta will be doing that decision making, but you can control it by only having 1 ad per ad set. And this will force Meta to spend that $50 on that 1 ad, even though I don't recommend this structure whatsoever. So the thing that I do recommend is giving it an even budget and splitting it. So if I do truly have $100 a day to spend, I would do $20 a day times 5. So times 5. I would have 5 different ad sets, and that's exactly the setup that we're gonna do today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select ad set budget. Now, there is a new option here which has share some of your budget with other ad sets. I have seen this succeed as well as fail. So I'm actually going to deselect it because I've seen more failures than success with this just for now. So at the time you're watching this video, around 2026, this feature is still not that great. It does work, like it does spend some money on other ad sets, but realistically, if you wanted to do that, you can just select campaign budget. Now, the next thing that is important to note is a special ad category. Don't try to go through loopholes and going around this. It's just going to get your account banned. So if you're selling insurance, financial products, services, credit cards, long-term financing, whatever, hard money lending, you want to select financial products and services. If your ad is literally to hire people, you need to say employment. If you're advertising a real estate property, homeowners insurance, mortgage loans, whatever it may be, you need to select housing. For any political or social issues, it's the last one as well. But for the sake of this example, we're going to leave this blank. Now, what you want to do is you want to click next from here. So now our campaign is done. Now, there is one more thing you could do, which is name it, which let's actually do that. Why not? So let's call this prospecting because we're prospecting new customers. These are potential customers that have never seen our business before. And we're just going to click next. So now on the campaign side, you are done. So I'm going to get a big green check and we're going to do this. Boom. Campaign is done. And that's really all it is. It's people overcomplicate it for no reason when really that's all you need to do. So let me go to this. All right. So the conversion location is what happens when they click your ad. So here you have two options. You can do multiple, which I don't recommend, or you can do a single. You can send them to a website, an instant form, a messenger, Instagram. You can get them to call you. The only two that I recommend here are website and instant forms. Those are the ones that I've seen be ROI positive if the ads are structured correctly. And the sales team is obviously taking care of the leads versus ignoring them. So we're going to select single. It might select website and instant form for you right off the bat, but you want to select single and select either website or instant form. Now, for the sake of this example, since we're not going to install a pixel on a website, I'm going to have a video specific for that that maybe we can attach in the description, or you can probably find it on my channel. We're going to actually select instant forms. And for instant forms, you then want to select your page, and you're going to get two options. You're going to either get you've accepted Meta's lead ads terms for this page, or you're going to get the button that says accept terms, and then you just click accept, and then it's gonna work perfectly. For performance goal, you're gonna have a couple options here as well, which is maximize number of conversion leads or maximize number of leads. Now, this one is significantly better, which is maximize number of conversion leads. But if you've never ran ads before, or you don't actually have an active CRM that you're updating very regularly, this one is going to be almost useless because Meta won't know which one's turned into a conversion. So I would say maximize number of leads is the best at the beginning. Now, the cost per result goal, I typically tend to leave this blank because almost whenever you put anything, either Meta is going to overspend or underspend. So what you can do is you can come back to this later down the line if you're noticing that your CPL is fluctuating heavily and you'd rather not spend than lose a little bit of money on certain days, then you can put a cost per result goal of what you are willing to pay for the lead. Now, keep in mind, if the market is paying more than the amount you put in here, then Facebook is just not going to spend money and you're not going to get any leads. So a lot of times it's better to get some leads for an opportunity to close deals than not spending and not getting any leads. So this is why I keep it as blank at the beginning. The next one, for value rules, you can just keep this as no. If you say show more options, you're going to get delivery type, which is going to be standard. You can't even edit this. For dynamic creative, I would keep this off. This means that the video or image is changing dynamically. And I like this off because I like to manually control what is being seen. Now, if you guys recall, we're going to do ABOs for $20 a day. We're going to do 5 of them. So we're going to start setting up the first one. So it's going to be $20. So the start date, you always want to put 11:59 p.m. of whatever day you're on, because it's going to take Meta a little bit of time to approve the ads. Let's say you're working on this 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., whatever. It's going to take Meta maybe in 1 to 2 to 3 hours to approve the ads. Once the ads are approved, you don't want it to spend the entire $100 between 9 p.m. and midnight. You want to give it a full 24 hours. So no matter what time you're launching the ads, always put it as 11:59. But whether you do this or not really is not that big of an impact. So it's not that serious, but I just recommend doing it. So in case that it can mess up the ads, you just want to avoid that entirely. End date is only relevant if you're running a short-term campaign. I'll give you guys an example of what this looks like. So if you're running a Valentine's Day special, if you're running a holiday special, if you're running a 4th of July special, you can set an end date so that the ads automatically shut off at a certain day and time. So you can do a custom. You can pick the day, you can pick the time. We're gonna keep this off for now. Now, if you click additional settings, you can have budget scheduling. Now, what budgeting scheduling is to schedule budget increases. So you can bid more based on how you guys are getting leads for a certain period of time. But again, I don't recommend doing this, not at the start. Now, the main part of the ad set is the actual audience. You have a couple of different options here as well. And Meta is trying to keep it simple over time and making it even less options that you can select. So right now, as you open it, it's going to say Advantage Plus on. So this means that Meta is going to find your audience for you. This is good and bad at the same time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So it's like very hit or miss. So I would recommend using it for at least one of the ad sets, which we're going to do. But for the other ones, I do want to manually control them. So you want to use this action right here, which says further limit the reach of your ads, which I know it sounds like it's not recommended, but this works significantly better in my experience. So what we want to do is we want to click on further the limit reach of your ads, and we're going to click continue. And then now you're going to have all the options available to you. So option number one is the location. If you're a local business, you can put your address. So let's say 5401 West Kennedy Boulevard, and we can select the address. This is our office in Tampa Bay. And you can go down to all the way down to a 1 mile radius, or you can go all the way up to a 50-mile radius. Now, what you could do as well is you could drop a pin. So I'm going to go ahead and make this, let's call it 12 miles. You can drop a pin. You can drop a pin and you can get custom coordinates. Another option you can have is do a zip code. So let's do 34685. That's a zip code in Eastlake. And you can see that Meta is going to highlight that specific zip code. Another thing you could do as well is put a city or state. So you can say Florida, if you can target the entire state. And you can also do certain cities. So you can say like Tampa as a whole. You want to do Tampa, Florida. Boom, it will target everything here. Now, you're going to get an option that says reach more people likely to respond. We'll also reach people interested in your selected cities and region in those countries. Now, I want to deselect this every single time. And even though this is going to tell you it's going to lower your cost per result, this and that, yes, it will. But the whole goal is not to get leads, it's to get sales. And if someone is interested in Tampa, but they live in California and I can only service the Tampa area, then there's no point, right? So we always want to turn this off. When it comes down to age, 18 to 65 is usually fine. But what you could do is you could make this 25 minimum. And instead of using this as a suggestion, I would also recommend turning it off. So depends what you're selling, of course. So if you're selling something that is more catered towards a younger audience, you can do like, for example, 18 to 30 or 35. If you're doing something that is more catered towards older people, you can do 55 to 65 plus. 65 plus is the oldest age you can select on Facebook. And again, you want to shut off use as a suggestion, because if it's using this as a suggestion, but it notices that the leads of younger people are cheaper, it's going to end up spending money there and you can't sell them. So what's the point? Right? So think about this as like you are setting the guardrails for Meta of what it can and cannot do. When it comes down to genders, I always keep it on all, except if you're selling a very specific product. So just to give you guys an example, one of my consulting clients is a very successful woman, and she attracts a lot of women entrepreneurs, and these are usually the people that are buying her products and services. So we typically just target women on her account, and we shut off use as a suggestion. So as you guys can see, Meta is always prompting us to use everything as a suggestion. They want to push us towards being more broad and letting the AI find the people for us. Now, the next step is custom audiences. Custom audiences are things that you can create from pre-existing audiences. What I mean by this is when you click on create new custom audience, you're going to be presented with a couple of different options. Website is if you already have tracking on your website and you have people signing up as leads on your website, visitors, whatever it may be, you could create an audience of people who have submitted a lead form or whatever it may be. And you can give this audience a name and you can get the retention to be longer. Another thing you could do is you can do Facebook page, Instagram accounts, like people who followed, liked, engaged. You can even do a customer list. So exporting your customer list and feeding this data to Meta so it does a better job. Lead forms is another example that you could use. So people that filled out the form. So let's do this. I'll show you guys what that means. So people who opened this form, people who opened but didn't submit the form, people who opened and submitted the form. As you guys can imagine, people who opened but didn't submit the form might be good potential clients. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to click back, and we're just going to not use this for now, but this is something that I will be filming a specific video about that I'll also leave in the description. And once you have a custom audience, you can build a lookalike off of that custom audience, which means telling Facebook, hey, go get me more customers that look like these people. All right. Perfect. The next one is detailed targeting. This one is the most common way of targeting certain things. This is interest-based targeting. So if you're advertising a dog-related product, you can click on dog health or golden retriever, or dog toy, or dog grooming. Just type in what your business does, and then Facebook is going to give you a lot of suggestions. So I'm going to show you guys an example. So we're going to type in roofing and roofing contractor, and people are interested in roofing contractor. Now, if I click on this, it's going to give me a bunch of suggestions of good interests that I could utilize, right? Now, keep in mind, you're reading the section on the right because this says employers, this says job titles, this says interests. You always want to go with interests. And as an example, I'll try another niche. So let's talk about insurance. So you're going to get people interested in insurance, people interested in life insurance, people interested in car insurance, insurance policy, home insurance, travel insurance. You're going to get so many good interests specific to your business. So like, let's say we want to do travel insurance. So where is it? Travel insurance. If we select this one, we're going to get things related to travel insurance. So general insurance. You can get some that are not directly correlated, but you're going to get something like frequent international travelers. You're going to get frequent travelers, travel websites, adventure travel. You're going to get things related to that one. So as long as you select one, you're going to get a ton of very, very good interests for that audience. And for languages, I usually leave it blank, but if you'd like, you can put English all, or if you're running ads in specific languages like Spanish, you could always select Spanish all or Spanish Spain. And that's pretty much it on a custom setup. Typically for the name of the ad set, I like to name it whatever I did here. So we're going to do, for example, we're going to call this one broad because we don't have anything specific. And we have 55 plus is the age group. And we are doing Tampa with a specific radius. So we can say like 15-mile radius. And people like to name these ad sets and ads in different ways. I like to use a dash. A lot of people like to use this dash right here, kind of separating them this way. It is up to you completely. I personally prefer the side dash. And the last thing you want to see when it comes to your ad set is your placement. You guys recall when I talked about the breakdown, you want to see if Facebook or Instagram is performing better, if stories or feed is performing better. You can do this here. Not only can you edit the platforms, you can edit the devices. You can do mobile and desktop. You can do mobile devices, Android devices only, iOS devices only. You can do the placements, which is you can break it down into feeds. So you have Facebook feed, Facebook profile feed, Instagram feed, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook right column, Instagram Explore page. There's so many different ones that you can select. Typically for this, I like to keep it broad. I like to keep Advantage Plus open and let Facebook as AI find for me the customers that are looking for my product or service. And then what I would do with this information is I would then go to breakdowns and then make these optimizations later down the line. Now, that's pretty much it on the target audience. So we're going to go back here. We're going to grab this check mark and we are going to say we are done with the ABO. And now we're going to start creating the ads. So what you want to do is first things first, you want to call this ad one. I always want to call the ads with the number that they're coming from. And then we can do this and say something along the lines of image one. So if you're using images versus videos and you want to see what works better for your business, then I would definitely put it on here. And then for the ad setup, we have two options here. The third one is kind of irrelevant. Don't use this. So creating an ad is a post that is ran as an ad that doesn't actually publish on your account publicly, okay? So if you want your profile to be very centered around your business, but you have like a special offer that you don't want all your followers to know about. All right, so now when we want to scroll down, we're gonna see ad setup. You're gonna be given two options here. The third one is pretty much irrelevant, which is you don't wanna use Creative Hub Mockup. You're gonna have the option of create ad or use existing posts. Create ad is very simple. It means you're creating the ad inside the ads manager and is not a post that already exists on your account. Typically, when you use create ad, it's not going to post it to your account. It's going to be basically just in your ad account. Means people are going to see this post, they can click on your profile and go to your account, but they're not going to see the ad inside your account. Now, you can use existing post, which is a post that already exists in your account, and it's a completely different structure, which I'll show you guys how to create an ad, because using an existing post is not typically what you want to do unless you're driving engagement to a post that is already on your profile. You can do a single image or video, which is 99% what I do. A carousel is more like a swipe through ad. Means it has a bunch of different images and you can add a bunch of different cards and then you can swipe through them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a single image or video. And for multi-advertiser ads, I usually turn this off. What this means is at the end of your ad, Facebook is going to show them your competitors, but also in exchange, at the end of your competitors' ads, Facebook's going to show you too. Typically, I just like to avoid this competition and just turn this off entirely. The next one you're going to see, the next thing you're going to see is destination, and this is where they go. Remember where we selected here instant forms? That means instant forms is happening on Meta. So Meta is going to allow you to create the form on platform. So we're going to click create form, and I'm going to show you exactly what are the options here. So here you're going to name the form. So we're going to call this test form, and you're going to have the option for more volume, higher intent, require leads to verify their phone number, which is what we call OTP. This will guarantee that all the phone numbers you get are valid. Rich creative, which allows you to build like a baby landing page on Meta. It's good, but I don't see the value in the additional cost. So typically I either go for more volume or higher intent with this box checked. Higher intent without this box checked is kind of useless. So I would always either do OTP or more volume. For the sake of this example, we're going to do more volume. And for flexible form delivery, you want to do optimized. Then you're going to click next. This right here is the greeting page. You can turn it off, but I highly recommend you keep it. Here, you want to reiterate what you talked about in the ad. So for the ad, we are going to use an example of a roofing ad. Let's just use that as an example. So the headline for this is claim your roof special today. And then the paragraph is going to be either something along the lines of please answer a few questions to know if you qualify, ... And then you can also do this as a list. A list will be a bunch of different things. You can have it like this, and it will be basically a list, and they can click on show more and then see the rest of them. Now we're going to go on paragraph, and we're going to put this back again. Then you want to click next. Now here's where the questions come into play. You do have conditional logic if you want to disqualify certain people after they answer a certain question in a way that you cannot help them. But we're going to keep this off for the time being because at the beginning, you don't want to ask too much of Meta. We're already asking a lot. So you want to keep this as minimal as possible. For the questions, you have 4 options. I don't usually use appointment request. I usually use multiple choice, short answer, or conditional. Multiple choice and short answer are the simplest ones for beginners. If you use conditional, it might get a little too complex because you might have to upload a spreadsheet with the conditions that you wanted to do. So we're going to do multiple choice. Question number 1, for a roof. Let's do something as an example. Are you a... Actually, we're not going to do are you. We're going to say, is the property residential or commercial? Question mark. And I'm actually not going to title case this. We're going to keep this regular. And then we're going to basically just grab residential, put it on here as option 1, and commercial as option 2. Now we're going to add another qualifying question. This one, I want to do a short answer. I want to do something along the lines of how old is the current roof? Minimum characters, you can just keep this blank, doesn't really matter. And then you can also move the questions in order. So the Facebook form is always going to start with a multiple choice and then moves on to the short answers and then moves on to the personal information. Now, think about it like this. You could ask how old is your current roof in a multiple choice format. We could even try it here. So let's just grab this text and we can do brand new. We can do 1 to 5 years, and then we can do plus, and we can do 5 to 10 years, and we can do 10 to 20 years. And then the last option would be something along the lines of 20 years plus. So why, if we can make it a multiple choice and make it easy for the customer, would we want to ask them a short form question or short answer question? It's simply because we want to add friction. Friction is the concept of making it more difficult for someone to give you their information, which is going to make them a little bit more committed to talk to you. So in a sense, if they manually type in the number, it's very different than just clicking a button. And typically, I wouldn't ask something like this that is a single click as a short answer. I would come up with something a little bit more creative. So something along the lines of why are you looking for a new question mark. So their answer could be something along the lines of, my roof is too old. It could also be like, my roof is leaking. Their answer could be like, my house got hit by a hurricane. I don't even have a roof, right? So there's so many different things that can go into play when it comes to the short answer. And we're actually going to keep these. I like these 3 qualifying questions right now. I'm just going to review, make sure that the formatting is good. All right, we have the titles, the title case right. We have the good questions, and we have a short form question. For the description, you can always say, who do we contact regarding this question mark? And then typically I like to reorder them. I like full name to always be first, phone number to be second. If it's checked on for optional, make sure to check it off. And then same thing for the email. Now, majority of times you don't need, you want to ask for the emails, but I have seen people run successful campaigns without asking for emails. So if you don't really care about their email and your entire business is over the phone, then I would ask for only phone number, but I highly recommend you keep the email just for data purposes. Now, you can ask additional things. So like street address, city, state, zip code. You can ask for date of birth, gender, whatever it may be. Some of these might be redacted for you, like you won't be able to see them if you are in a special ad category, okay? So for now, we're just gonna put these 3 and call it a day. The next one is the privacy policy. So now it's actually optional, which is crazy. So you can either shut this off or put in a privacy policy specific to your business. It's probably like yoururl.com/privacy-policy. If you don't have that, I highly recommend it. Just avoid any issues with contacting people, etc. So we're going to turn it off for the sake of this example. Then you want to click next, and then the ending is where people finish the form. You have a couple options here as well. They can view a file, like download like a free PDF. They can go to your website, they can call your business, or they can chat with you on WhatsApp. I only use really go to website as well as call business. Call business is literally they're gonna click this button, they're gonna be able to call you in, and then go to website is where you could send them to an alternative link, whatever it may be. Now, most people make the mistake of saying something along the lines of, thanks, you're all set, and then putting their homepage of the website here. That's like zero guidance. There is a rule on the internet that if someone consumes your content for 7 hours, if they can afford it, they're going to buy it. So think about it like this. If your customer is jumping from one place to another, getting a bunch of quotes from a bunch of different people, then in that case, what you could do is say something along the lines of, congratulations, in all caps, you qualify. But then we were going to say something along the lines of, in order to claim your offer before it expires in 10 minutes, call the number below to schedule an in-person appointment. And that is going to prompt people to actually click the button and actually call your business. Now, what you could do is, instead of congratulations, you qualify, there is an alternative angle. You guys remember when I mentioned there is like towards the positive and away from the negative? So congratulations, you qualify is towards the positive. There is a version of this that says, wait, you're almost done. And you can say, in order to claim your offer before it expires, in 10 minutes, call the number below to schedule an in-person appointment. And that is away from the negative, right? So they don't want the offer to expire, so they're going to call the number. And then you can put the number in here, and then you can obviously change the call to action as well. I like to keep it as call now, or change it to call here. And then a third option is to actually put the number. So like, let's say this is their number, 456 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so let's say that could be an example, especially if you're running local ads. I recommend you use this one, because if your phone number is local to them as well, it's gonna prompt them to call you, because they're gonna feel like you're close to them. It's very easy to get in contact with you, whatever it may be. Now, the next option you have is go to website. When it comes down to go to website, you also want to follow the same guidelines of making sure that they are doing something after the form. So for website, you can put your link here, mysite.com/ you want to send them somewhere. So case-studies or whatever the case studies are on your website, your Google reviews, whatever it may be. You want them to consume content. If you're filming videos and posting them on YouTube, you want to put the link to your YouTube video so they can keep watching and educating themselves. So now make sure if you use go to website, don't use the call to action as a phone number. You can say something along the lines of, click here to see our case studies. And instead of wait, you're almost done, you can use something along the lines of, congrats, you qualify, click the link below to see our case studies, or whatever it may be. So for now, we're going to just X out of this. I already have a form created, but all you would do here is create the form. If you get an error, it's going to show you which one of the steps is the error. So I would just fix that, and then you should be good to go. So I do have a testing form here that we can just utilize. And then the last thing when it comes to the ad is the one thing that matters more than anything else, which is setting up the creative. So we're going to do, let's say, an image ad. This is a roofing ad. You're going to click next. For story format, you can create story specific ones and then replace them with it. You can just click upload and then upload the files that you need. And then at the end, hold on, let me just go back, add image. We're going to use this. You want to make sure that it's not actually cropping it super weird where it's not visible. Like if it did this, like this is irrelevant, right? So we want to always make sure that these are all on original. You want to click next. Your primary text is what shows up above your ad on Facebook and under your ad on Instagram. Headline and description only shows up on Facebook, but these are happening under the ad. And then the call to action is the button that they click. I like to use learn more. And for primary text, I'm just going to copy these just to show you guys what they look like. And then we are going to create them together as well. All right, next. Here, you don't want to select any of these. You want to skip this. You click next. And then for the enhancements, for some reason, I've noticed better results by shutting off everything on here. So you want to shut these off. You don't want like random music playing behind your images, things like that. So we're going to click done, and then boom, we have our ad. And as you guys can see, I'm going to try to zoom in here. You guys can see this is a Facebook ad and this is an Instagram ad. So the primary text on Instagram is under the image. And the primary text on Meta is above the image, and the headline is right here, and the description is right under it. So when we write copy, we want to make sure that we are utilizing all of these assets to actually give the person a good understanding of what it is that we're going to be doing. Now, I'm going to make videos specific to creating the images and videos specific to using AI to come up with the primary text, headline, and description. For this channel. However, if you're interested in diving a little bit deeper into these things and you want access to them early, I do have Click to Client, which is my program. I go through everything A through Z, Facebook, Google, automations on your CRM, Zapier connecting your Facebook to your CRM and other assets, as well as using AI for writing copy, using AI for creating images, videos, voice, UGC content, as well as creating funnels on the back end. So if that sounds interesting, it's I think with the first or the second link in the description, so you guys can check it out. It's called Click to Client. But for the time being, we are going to write some primary text on here. So what we're going to do is something along the lines of the following. So we're going to do a limited time special, and we're going to go to here, and we're going to say get a brand new roof for only $97 per month. And then we're going to go on to, we're going to do a short form copy. We're going to do something along the lines of click, learn more to see if you qualify. All right, perfect. Now you could add like a cool like alert emoji here behind it. And you could also, we're gonna add the exclamation mark here at the end. Now for short copy, you wanna make sure that it is completely fitting within these 3 lines, because let's say we said something a little bit longer and we said limited time special, get a brand new roof for only X amount per month. We have been in business for 25 plus years. This is going to create that see more button. So I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see what I'm talking about. You guys can see it has like the see more button. You don't want this if you're using short copy. If you're using long copy and it's a very, very long copy, then we're okay with having the see more button because we're getting more value out of them actually clicking see more. But in this situation, we're not getting that much more value out of them clicking see more. So what I would do in this situation is I would just get rid of this, because all we care about is short form copy here. And keep in mind, a lot of people underestimate the power of short form copy, and a lot of people think you need long form copy in order to get results. I've actually spent a lot more money on ads on short form copy because it's very straight to the point, and if your ad is good, you don't need to overcomplicate your copy. Now, Meta is going to try to turn these on for you. I personally don't like Advantage Plus creative text generation, so I turned them off. And same thing for the headline. It's going to be the same concept. I get rid of these as well. For the headline, we're going to do something along the lines of claim your offer today. And the same thing you want to happen here. You don't want it to go to the second line. So like, let's say free, and let's see if it goes. Yeah, okay. So you don't want it to do the following. Whatever you write, you want it to stay on a same line, okay? Because once it goes on to the next line, it starts to mess up the formatting and the structure of your ads based on which platform they're on, based on which device a person is on, etc. So I would recommend you just keep it simple. And as long as it looks good here, it's going to look good everywhere. For the description, here, I either leave it blank or I'm going to write limited time offer in all caps. It's going to show up nice right under this. So we're going to keep it for now, but you can also keep this blank. Most of the time I do keep it blank because most offers are really not limited time, even though you can say that it is. Now, that's pretty much it. That's how you set up an ad. But you guys remember what we did here? We're going to check off this, but we also have the rest of the structure to build. So we have these 3 as well as this one right here. And if you guys remember, we have 5 ad sets, not 2, that we're going to be creating. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click on the 3 dots and we're going to click on quickly duplicate. Now, once this is quickly duplicated, what we're going to do is add 2, image 2, and we are going to go down and we only want to change one thing. This is super important. If you change more than one thing, you're going to not know why that something worked versus didn't. So like here, if I change the image and I change the primary text and I change the headline and it starts to work, well, that's great, but I'm not going to know why it's working. So it takes us back to running the ads blind, which is not the objective. The objective is to run the ads with clear transparency of what is going on so you can make decisions that actually make sense. And honestly, most of the time, it's common sense. If you're spending $100 on one thing and $100 on something else, and the first one is getting you cheaper leads and more sales than the second one, you're probably going to shut off the second one. It's really not that complicated. So when it comes down to this part right here, make sure you're only changing one thing at a time. So in this situation, what we're going to do is we're going to be changing the image. So we're going to click on add image. We're going to click upload and we're going to select another roofing related image. So let me see what else I have on this computer. I think this is a roofing image as well. That's an example. Let me see. All right, perfect. Original. We're going to use this. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to turn off all of these. Turn off, turn off, turn off, off, and off. Perfect. We're going to click done. So now we have add 1 and add 2. So the way you want to do things is you want to build one campaign, one ad set, one ad, and then you want to build another ad, which we just did. And you guys saw how much faster that was. And now we're going to duplicate this entire setup. We're going to duplicate this entire setup and start making a singular change, just like we did on the ad, but on the ad set level. So to go back to this, now that this is done, we can just click on this and click duplicate for this. And since we're using 5 different ad sets at $20 a day, I'm going to do 4 different copies of the ad set level. So now we're going to have a total of 5. We're going to have the original one and we're going to have 4 brand new ones. Now, if each one of these is spending $20 a day, well, we're averaging $100 a day. And that's exactly what we want to do. Now, this is going to say you'll spend an average of $20 per day. Your maximum daily spend is $35 and your maximum weekly spend is $140. Don't worry about this that much. This is probably never going to happen. I think this is just like a security thing that Meta has in case the AI spends a little bit more. But I have almost never seen it spend more than it's supposed to. So maybe by a couple cents, but nothing major. So what we're going to do with these alternative ad sets is we're going to do one change again. So here, what we're going to be doing is the detailed targeting. So here, since we did roofing, I'm going to click on roofing and I'm going to click on roofing contractor websites. So we're going to do this one and we're going to copy this and we're going to put it here instead of broad. And then I'm going to get rid of the copy at the end, which tells me that this one is now done. So now we also just finished the second one and we have the ads in there because we did it smart at the beginning. We did this diagonal and then we went wide. Instead of having created a bunch of different ad sets and then you have to go into every single one and modify the ads, these ads are already good. We don't have to do anything. So if I go to add 1, it's already done. If I go to add 2, it's already done. And that's the beauty of setting it up this way. It's going to save you a ton of time. Now, the only thing left to do is to wrap up these 3. And now we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to click on this. We're going to go down here. We're going to go to all demographics. We're going to go to detailed targeting. I'm going to click on roofing again. And now I don't like any of these other ones very much. So we're going to click on roofing contractor, which we selected here. So we're not going to use this one, but I want to know what Facebook recommends for this. So home repair could be a good one. So we're going to select home repair. I'm going to select this. I'm going to X out of this, and I'm going to copy home repair because we're going to add it to the ad set name. And the last thing is just getting rid of copy, so we know that this has been completed. The next one is also broad. So here, I'm going to take roofing again. We're going to select roofing contractor. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to see what other things Facebook recommends. Renovation construction. I think that's good. We're going to X out of roofing contractor, grab renovation, put it in the ad set name. And that is almost done. We're almost done. All right, now we only have one more ad set to go. So we're gonna scroll down. We're gonna click on roofing, and we're gonna do the same exact thing again. We're gonna roofing contractor. We're gonna select this. We're gonna look for an interest that we like, and we're gonna make sure that this says interests, not something else. And we're going to do home repair. We already did home repair. Let's see what else we have. Domestic roof construction. I don't even know if this is a good interest or not. I haven't seen it before, to be honest. So we're going to just select this. It has a 36 to 42 million audience size, so I think that's good. And I'm going to paste this here, and we're going to get rid of copy. Now, what you want to do, you definitely don't want to discard the drafts. So you want to go ahead and click publish. But before we do that, let's review everything. So we have a campaign. It's prospecting, which is great. We have 5 target audiences spending $20 a day. So that's $100 a day, which is perfect. And then we have 2 ads in each. So if we have 2 ads times 5, we have 10 ads, which is perfect. And that is exactly what we want. The next step is super simple. You click on review and publish, and you click publish, and that's it. You're pretty much done. And that's pretty much it. So now you officially know how to set up an ad from start to finish, and you understand everything inside the ads manager. So if you take anything away from this video, it's this. Facebook ads aren't about clicking the right buttons. They're about understanding how the system thinks and feeding it the right signals. Once you understand that, everything else gets easier. So if you found this video helpful and you want more videos like this where I break down meta ads the right way, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And if you guys want additional help beyond just meta, what I'm talking about is funnels, automations, and building an ecosystem around these ads, then click one of the first 2 links in the description. One of them is to work with me one-on-one, and the second one is to go through and actually see my entire click-to-client ecosystem that I filmed a free training about. So that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys on the next one.